there also is the huge topic of the last finger. And the last finger has a lot of different things surrounding it and a lot of different theories that could potentially come true. It's interesting. I, for one, thought that the entire last arc of the story would revolve around the last four fingers and like the Jujutsu protagonists trying their best to get the four fingers before Sukuna and Arame do, but that didn't happen. We did a month time skip, and in that month time skip, Arame was able to retrieve all of the remaining fingers except for one. Now, those theories where that last finger can be revolve around something as simple as Gojo hiding it, which is what Sukuna assumes and even theorizes himself. But again, that doesn't always mean that that's true. Another theory is, I see a lot of people saying it in chat, that Nobara actually has the last finger, and that's why she's been in hiding this entire time. Nobara, as a contingency plan against Sukuna, has been lying in wait with the last finger, and in one critical moment to help Yuji, just like it happened in the Mahito fight, Nobara will hit the last Sukuna finger with resonance, which will either stun Sukuna, do some critical damage to Sukuna, or cause Sukuna some kind of inconvenience, which will allow the protagonist to win. That is definitely something that I've seen a lot of people hope for, especially because it gives Nobara copers a way for Nobara to come back into the story and be relevant. And the reason for that is because a lot of Nobara copers are fighting the fact that she really isn't relevant anymore in the story. Like, the story has moved on past Nobara's need to continue. Like, Nobara jumping into the story, that would be her only purpose, to have one big resonance technique at the very end and hurt Sukuna, or potentially, you know, have some kind of resonance come up with Kenjaku in the merger. Sure, but a lot of people are hoping for the finger because there's so much mystery surrounding where that last finger is. Of course, with Sukuna also thinking that Gojo hid the last and final finger, that is a theory that could hold a lot of weight, not necessarily on the Nobara side, because of course there is a lot of weight in the fact that Nobara is just dead and is never coming back into the story, and she's just gone forever. But it holds a lot of weight because that would just add on to the fact that Sukuna was right about Gojo hiding the finger, because Gojo had this plan originally from the beginning, and that is why Gojo was able to die without regrets and trust his students to actually kill Sukuna, because he always knew that his students would be able to reveal this plan from the very beginning. That being said, there is also the big theory that lies in Yuji's side of things and also goes into Kenjaku's origins, Yuji's origins, and everything of the sort, which is that Yuji himself legitimately is the last finger, which I think, at least in my opinion, makes a little bit more sense than the Nobara coming back thing, simply because Yuji and Sukuna have shared so many relations and so many traits from the very beginning. I mean, not even just the fact that they look just the fuck alike, and the fact that Gege confirmed it's not because Yuji is like a distant relative of Sukuna, or Sukuna is Yuji's ancestor, and like Sukuna had a whole family line that led its way down to Yuji, and just stopped being sorcerers. Not true. Sukuna never fostered a family. It's confirmed by Gege. On the flip side of things, we know Kenjaku likes to do a lot of crazy fucking experiments, no? Kenjaku literally impregnated a woman 9 times, 10 times, or 9 times, I guess, to make the death paintings, with a cursed spirit. Just really depraved, cruel shit that Kenjaku was willing to do. And we also know that Kenjaku was literally willing to incarnate inside of Yuji's dead mom, who died in like a car accident or something, right? And Jin Itadori, this depressed husband who lost his wife, was willing to be like, you know what, I'll take it, as long as my wife is still alive, right? But Kenjaku doesn't like the other death paintings, right? Kenjaku hates the other death paintings. He says, you're failures, you didn't amount to anything interesting, you guys are nothing less than ordinary, just grade 1 sorcerers with extra special supernatural powers, like Choso has his special blood and they're all connected, everything like that. Whereas Kenjaku sees a lot of promise in Yuji. Kenjaku likes everything that Yuji is. Kenjaku sees a lot of potential in Yuji, and even when he's fighting Choso and Yuki in the Tomb of the Star, Kenjaku even says that his golden age of curses, the storm that is the chaos that Kenjaku is trying to cause, will never end as long as one, Sukuna is still around, and two, Yuji is still around. And it's just very interesting also with the fact that Yuji was able to act as a prison to Sukuna's spirit, and Sukuna wasn't able to immediately take over Yuji and just use Yuji's vessel as ever he wanted. Yuji had a 1 in a million chance of acting as a prison to Sukuna's spirit. The King of Curses. Of all people, Yuji was able to suppress the King of Curses. I mean, granted, Megami was also acting as a prison to the King of Curses, so 2 1 in a million chances resided next to each other, which, granted, you want to say is very interesting writing as alone. We could debate that all day, every day. However, it is interesting where you could call Megami a natural occurrence of the 1 in a million chance, which is why Sukuna is so interested in him and his 10 Shadows technique. Whereas Yuji would be that 1 in a million chance that isn't natural or reoccurring in nature whatsoever. It was completely manufactured by Kenjaku. Now, not only would this seem to reason why Yuji looks just like Sukuna, but why Yuji was able to act as a prison, and why Kenjaku considers Yuji's birth a success as opposed to the death paintings that are considered failures. In my opinion, that would be completely due to, or it could be, if we're following this theory along right, Kenjaku actually used a Sukuna finger to actually create Yuji and make Yuji's birth more successful than Choso's, and take it one step further. Kenjaku used that finger to perfect the birth and create an immaculate conception, which was Itadori Yuji, the one that will be able to surpass Sukuna and create another Sukuna. Or, if anything, it could create Yuji, who is another theory, that could be a vessel that can not only imprison the King of Curses, but can imprison the merged curse spirit that Kenjaku plans to create. Not only is Yuji going to act as a vessel to keep Sukuna and travel him into the place and time that Kenjaku needs him to be, but Yuji will act as the final vessel for the million soul curse spirit that Kenjaku is going to create after the culling game, and give Yuji all of the power necessary to create this chaos, create this anomaly that Kenjaku has been searching for years. Going into that, it also wouldn't surprise me if Kenjaku died to his own creation. That also makes sense as to why I don't think Takaba would kill Kenjaku either, because Kenjaku is all based around creating Yuji, creating all these different things. Like, if he really did use the last finger to create a baby boy able to handle Sukuna and the cursed spirit, it wouldn't surprise me if all of his evil deeds come back to haunt him, and as soon as that million spirit cursed spirit is born, it slaughters Kenjaku. Which I don't think Kenjaku would be mad at. He accomplished his goal at that point. Or the last finger is required for the merger. You know, there's a lot of different things that could happen, and could revolve around that last and final finger. But I think ultimately, I don't think it has to do with Nobara. I think Yuji being the last finger as a whole makes a whole lot of sense. Or again, maybe Kenjaku has the final finger, Todo has the final finger. I don't know. There's a lot of different things that it could ultimately come to. But if you ask me, I've got my stocks in the Yuji is the last finger theory, but we can only wait and see for that to come.